Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Back in My Day, the Graham family podcast where three generations gather, sometimes with snacks, but always with strong opinions, to swap stories, compare classics, and maybe even talk some trash. I'm your host, Mark Graham, proud Gen Xer, founder and editor-in-chief of Decider.com, DVD and Blu-ray collector, and sometimes the guy yelling, "Back in my day." But before we dive in, let's talk about this little experiment of ours. Ever since our kids were little, we've made family movie nights a tradition. With our son Max recently turning 12, classic coming-of-age year, we started to reflect on the movies that shaped us the most at that age and how they still stick with us today. We realized there's something magical about being 12. You're old enough to really see yourself on the screen, but still wide-eyed enough for anything to feel possible. On each episode of Back in My Day, we'll be discussing two movies. These are movies that came out when we were Max's age. Sometimes they'll be timeless favorites, sometimes forgotten gems. And sometimes Max is even going to pick a movie that he's loving. And you never know what Zach, our energetic 9-year-old and self-appointed mascot, will bring to the table, besides his running color commentary. When we found out that LMC Media gives Mamaroneck residents a chance to record a podcast here in this beautiful studio, we agreed it was the perfect way for us to capture these conversations. Every film we pick will be a window into growing up, family, and the stuff that shapes who we become. Whether it's Gen X nostalgia, millennial memories, or a fresh take from Gen Alpha, it's all about reliving and re-experiencing those important movie moments and maybe finding some new favorites along the way. So now we'd like to introduce all the members here of our podcast today. First up, my wife, Meghan Graham.
Hi, I'm the mom here. I was a film critic in a previous life. I'm an occasional Decider contributor, millennial cusper, and in a classic middle child situation, I will be sandwiched between these generations here as we do this podcast.
And I'm Max. I'm 12 years old, and I'm in 7th grade. I enjoy doing musical theater, and I love movies even more. And I'm excited to be here.
And last but not least, we've got Zachary over here. Zach, you really didn't want to be part of this podcast, but you said you wanted to be our mascot. Well, what does that mean?
Back in my day.
Well, that's perfect. Okay, so as we talked about, for this episode and every episode, we're going to be discussing two movies. The first pick, which was my pick, came out in November of 1986 when I was 12 years old, and it is the basketball classic Hoosiers. Classic underdog tale, classic sports movie. Max, why don't you describe a little bit about what you think it's about?
Okay, so I'm going to be doing a summary for each movie. So basically, in my opinion, Hoosiers is about this guy who moves to this small town in Indiana, and he's a teacher, but he's also going to be coaching the basketball team. So there's this other lady that does not like him, and they're trying to force a romance between them, and it really doesn't really work until they set it in place 5 minutes before the movie ends. So he coaches this team, which only has 5 people on it, so they have to play the entire game. So he comes up with a lot of weird strategies, oh, you guys have to pass the ball 4 times before you even attempt to shoot, which are really dumb, and it's basically he's just setting their team up to fail. So, there's this other kid, Jimmy, who's really good at basketball, but doesn't want to be on the team for some reason they don't specify. And there's this other kid whose dad is the town drunk, and he, for some reason, he knows a lot about basketball, so they put him on to help coach the team. So, through a series of events, they get Jimmy on the team, and they make it. So before, their team was really bad because their coach is literally setting up to fail. But then Jimmy gets on the team so they can have a chance for sit-outs. And so they make it to the finals, but they're like, oh, wait, so we've been calling this the finals for the past 5 minutes, but this is actually the quarterfinals. All right, guys, we made it to the finals. Nope, it's the semifinals. Okay, now they're actually at the finals, and they win, and they go back, and their small town, they are heroes, and so the old guy, the coach, goes over to the lady's house. So for some reason, she's been at all the games, and she clearly hates the guy. So she's like, at all the games. So why, so they go over to her house, and for some reason, they're kissing, and it's really forced. There was no setup, and Yeah.
So you didn't like the movie, is what you're saying.
Sorry if I offended anyone, but I did not like this movie.
Well, Megan, you're going to be moderating this particular part. Well, do you have any questions for us?
Well, I think my first question is, what's a Hoosier?
What's a Hoosier?
It's not specified.
They don't mention it once in the movie.
Nope.
There's not a moment in the movie like Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where it points at the camera and says Hoosiers. A Hoosier is Indiana is known as the Hoosier state. And so because the movie takes place in Indiana, where basketball is the single most important thing, especially in the 1950s when this movie takes place, that's why they call it Hoosiers.
I think that's the perfect example of, do you guys know what inside baseball is?
No.
So it's basically when you describe the inner workings of a system that only really makes sense to experts or insiders.
Oh.
And to me, Hoosiers is a perfect example of an inside basketball movie. I think a lot of people who love basketball love this movie.
I don't like basketball, and I hated this movie.
A lot of Midwesterners. I know this film really spoke to you as a Midwesterner and a basketball lover. But so much of what happened was really hard to understand as someone who kind of only...
If you only watch the movie once and you're not, like, laser focused in on all the subtext, a lot of the stuff did not make sense.
Yeah. And, you know, I guess I know a few kind of angry Midwesterners or people who've lived through cold Indiana winters. But since I've never done that, it was a little hard for me to get into the movie. And I just feel like it's the perfect example of an inside basketball
I like
movie.
basketball, and I like the movie, so.
And I think that's a great point, Zach. One of the things that I really loved about this movie is the repeat watch factor. Agreed, maybe on the first viewing. The movie was originally, I think, shot to be a 2.5 or 3 hour movie. The final cut ended up being a little over 90 minutes. They took some key sort of plot points and moments out of it, I think, for efficiency and rewatchability.
Yeah, like, for example, there's this one guy who is apparently the dad, and they off screen they like recruit him to like help coach the team.
Exactly. That's Dennis Hopper, who is a classic actor, started in the 50s, went all the way through the mid-2000s. He was Oscar nominated for this movie for his performance as Shooter, the town drunk, as you mentioned. And I found that really, really emotional, the way that I'm
talking about the other guy.
Oh, well, I'm talking about Dennis Hopper's Shooter in this movie. Anyway, he was tremendous, and the relationship between that father and that son, particularly in the 1950s time frame, was, I think, really incredible.
He actually just gotten out of rehab recently when he started filming this movie, so it was a very personal performance for him.
You see it all on the screen, too, the way that he particularly, there's a scene where he goes into a hospital to dry out after sort of an alcoholic relapse, where he really, really brings the emotion. And again, I think that's probably what earned him the Academy Award.
He actually changed the
nomination.
plot at that part of the movie.
Oh.
When I was looking up facts about this, he was supposed to get out of rehab and come to the final game. And he said that it wouldn't be realistic for him to leave rehab because the character would really care about getting dry. So they changed it for him.
And then there's another guy who's another dad from the town. There's like this whole group of dads that are like trying to coach the team and feel like they're like always like interjecting themselves. And there's one of the dads who likes the coach guy, and he just like joins the coaching team completely off screen, no mention of it in the entire movie.
A lot of the action happens between the scenes and between the dialogue, which I think is a factor of them cutting basically an hour out of the film. So it's interesting that it was so successful considering. And I guess that's kind of part of its appeal, which it felt really opaque to me. And I might have also been skewed because Max was constantly in my ear telling me how much he hated this movie when I was watching it. But I found it a little bit hard to get into. But Mark, you felt like it held up after all these years?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen Hoosiers 30 times, 40 times. I can't even count the number of times that I've seen it. It was a movie. I played basketball in high school growing up, and sports were really, really important to me. And before certain basketball games that we would play, we would watch movies to pump us up before the game. And there are just some incredible basketball players in this movie. The basketball players, the ones who portray the kids in the high school team, were real-life college athletes. So they were all incredible shooters. They all had their own personality. And that was one of the things I also really, really liked about this movie. I know that you guys all sort of felt like the characters were interchangeable, But for somebody who's watched this movie as many times as I have, I feel like there are lots of cool archetypes. There was a very religious guy. There was a guy whose dad was sort of the town drunk and carried that a lot with him, brought a lot of that anger onto the floor. And there was this guy, Jimmy Chitwood, who is one of the best shooters in basketball history. Right, Zach? That dude is incredible.
But
anyway, that's what I really liked about it.
When one of the main things is you have to watch the movie multiple times to understand all the subtext. Like, so you're putting to get off your time to watch the movie, and you have to put off more of your time to rewatch the movie to completely understand what happened in that movie. And when it's not like a giant blockbuster with tons of detail that needs to be unpacked, it's like, why would you do it?
Well, it was interesting to me how many aspects of the film have been repeated in subsequent sports movies and have become kind of like tropes that we see now. Every time the inspirational basketball music started playing, I kept expecting one of the guys to turn into Teen Wolf. It just felt like that should be happening. Did you guys have any feelings about...
What about inspirational speeches? Do we have one of those queued up, you think?
That's just what I was going to do.
All right.
About the crowds. There's a tradition in tournament play to not talk about the next step until you've climbed the one in front of you. I'm sure going to the state finals is beyond your wildest dreams, so let's just keep it right there. Forget about the crowds, the size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here. Focus on the fundamentals that we've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners. Okay? All right! Let's go! Let's go! Let me hear it! Go, 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 go!
I think that's a perfect encapsulation of one of the things that makes this movie so great. Every good sports movie has a great inspirational speech delivered to a coach, to his team right before the big game, the big moment. This one absolutely delivers on all of those fronts. Wow. And to your point, it's also got the slow clap, which has become sort of a trope and a cliche at this point. In this movie, this was still relatively early in the slow clap move in movies. It brings emotion every time, and I literally have goosebumps right now watching this and thinking about it.
I love how much you feel about this movie. It didn't do it as much for me, but I feel like I was more attuned with Barbara Hershey's character. I know she was set up as the foil for Gene Hackman, but she seemed to be one of the only people talking sense in the movie. I remember at one point she was talking about how she didn't want Gene Hackman to go after Jimmy Chitwood. And she says, he's a real special kid, and I have high hopes for him. And I think if he works really hard, he can get an academic scholarship to Wabash College and get out of this place. It seemed like no one really loved being there. They were all really unhappy characters.
Well, there wasn't a lot of mobility for people in the 1950s, particularly in a small farm town in Indiana. Basketball was really all that these people had and all that they gravitated towards. As Max, you point out a couple times, all of the dads are up in the coach's business all of the time. The players, like a guy like Shooter, was a legend on this team, but missed the big shot in the big game, which made his life really spiral and go in a really bad direction.
Well,
but I think that's the thing that's interesting about it, and what part of what resonated to me. I grew up in a small town in the Midwest, in Michigan, not in Indiana, but we only had 2 stoplights in our town. There were dirt roads when I was growing up, and seeing this classic underdog story of 5 or actually 8 guys from a really small town be able to win the big state championship, that meant a lot to me then, and it means a lot to me now. And I thought there might have been some lessons from sports movies and why sports are important that might have... I know you're not a sports guy, but I thought that was cool. You're definitely a sports guy.
I feel like those are the kinds of things you would only catch after a second rewatch, like going at all the details. So I feel like it's like mostly just nostalgia, because a lot of that did not, like, this might just be because I'm not a basketball player, but a lot of that did not like necessarily resonate with me, and it just felt like not necessary.
Well, I guess we know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it anyway. Would you watch this movie again, and or recommend it to your friends?
No and no. I don't want to watch this movie again.
Well, that is fair. Thank you. That was our chat on Hoosiers. But Megan, you picked out a movie for us to watch. What movie did you choose?
So, My Girl. This was it's a classic coming of age movie starring Sarah Chlumsky and Macaulay Culkin, and it's set in the 70s. But it really spoke to me when I was an adolescent, and I think also, taught a generation of girls that love is pain, and
Sorry,
that if you have a really sweet boy who loves you, despite all your flaws, he may die suddenly and really be a dark spot on your chances at love.
Max, what was it? What was the movie about?
This movie was very sad, but up until the big tragedy, it was really funny. It was a good time, and so basically, this movie I'm pretty sure takes place in Florida, and so there's this girl Veda who lives in a funeral.
Veda Sultanfuss.
Who lives in a funeral parlor. And so her dad is the mortician or something. I don't know the word. So she sort of kind of doesn't get a lot of attention, and her mom is no longer with them. So the most of the movie is very like slice of life. Her just like going through her day-to-day life. She has this friend Thomas J, who Macaulay Culkin. So they're like just hanging out. And she has, like, an obsession with death. She thinks she has cancer and she's going to die soon, which she doesn't. And so they're just going out. Like, they have this tree where they hang out by the lake. So there's this other lady, Shelley, who...
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah. So
Looking incredible.
So she is a beauty technician. So she goes to the funeral parlor thinking it's a beauty parlor. But she gets the job to do all the dead people's makeup, and she starts to date Veda's dad. And Veda just, like, doesn't like that at all. And so her and Thomas J are, like, trying to go, like, sabotage them. So, they, like, go to their bingo night and call out bingo, and they don't have it to, like, disrupt the whole thing. So basically, so... Veda like doesn't understand love, so she goes out with Thomas J to the tree, and they're like, "Let's kiss so we can see like what it's all about." And Veda, so they do it, they kiss, and Veda's like, I don't get the hype. And Thomas J is like, "Wow." So they both go home, and Thomas J on the way there, so previously there was this beehive, and Veda lost her ring by it. So Thomas J finds her ring. And he's kicking the beehive. He's kicking the beehive because he's happy, and all the bees come out and sting him, and he's allergic to bees, so he dies.
Oof.
Which was really sad and really unexpected.
Wait, he died?
Yes, he died.
He did, Zach. You missed that part of the movie, but Megan, you picked a great clip. I think that really highlights what the movie is and really encapsulates it. It's great screenwriting, great performances. Want to roll that?
ISSING. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes Thomas J. the baby carrot.
You know, Veda, you shouldn't let those girls upset you.
I'm not upset. I will never play with those girls. I only surround myself with people who I find intellectually stimulating.
Want a piece of chocolate? Thomas J?
I'm allergic to it.
To chocolate?
He's allergic to everything.
Chocolate?
To everything.
Ooh, it's a pretty ring you're wearing.
It's a mood ring. It tells what mood I'm in.
It doesn't work. It always says black.
It's only black when you're around because you put me in a bad mood.
Maybe black means you're happy.
I don't think so.
Well, he is allergic to everything, particularly bees, as we find out later in the movie.
If he's allergic to everything, how can he eat?
Not everything, Zach.
Well, not
A lot.
literally
There's a
everything,
little bit of
but
hyperbole.
just a little bit of everything. But a mood ring is an important part of this movie, which is part of this clip as well. Max, did you notice what color the mood ring was?
So the mood ring is mostly black. It's like in the rest of the clip if we play that.
Yeah.
But
Well, I love this clip because it's got a little bit of everything. It kind of sets up the drama, shows that Veda is too smart to play with these girls who are teasing her, shows how much Thomas J loves her. Jamie Lee Curtis is looking amazing, and it's got my favorite candy of all time, peanut chews.
Oh, peanut chews. They're still in our freezer to this very day.
No, they're not. I ate them all.
so I feel I had a connection with the movie. I connected it to Bridge to Terabithia, which I watched in 4th grade, and I viewed it as very similar. It was basically the same movie, like with like just different details, but like the same like overall point. Like there's 2 kids that are like going out into like not the wilderness, but like they're just like out in their town, and the boy starts to like fall in love with the girl, and then one of them just like dies out of nowhere.
It's funny, you
They
crazy.
just died out of nowhere. Like, how did they die?
Okay, well, so but like, it's just like it's basically the same movie, and yeah.
Well, Megan, did you cry when we rewatched this? Did you
Yeah.
cry when you were 12 when you
Yeah.
first saw this?
I cry almost every time I think about it. Poor Thomas J. Where are his glasses?
I know that part was so sad.
So sad.
Did you cry, Max? I wasn't.
No.
I wasn't studying your face.
It's I don't really cry in any form of fiction. It's like very hard to make me cry.
Not even books.
Well, there was one time, but
Yeah.
I don't really.
Tough.
Megan, there are 2 incredible performances here by child actors, Anna Klumsky and Macaulay Culkin. Who do you think gave a better performance?
Well, Anna Klumsky is just kind of impeccable in this movie, and Macaulay Culkin is really sweet, but I think she kind of runs circles around him in this. I know he was the more famous actor, but she was just amazing, and I don't know how to pronounce her last name, I guess.
This is hard to imagine in our world that we live in today, but this was a monster hit at the box office. It made almost $120 million in 1991 money. That's almost $300 million in 2025. So that's like a Marvel movie kind of a scale. Everybody saw this movie. Everybody was talking about it. But Max, was My Girl a good name for this movie?
I mean, I feel like it would have been nice if they like said it like with like a more like.
Well, they did play a
Kind of.
song like near the end of the movie that's My Girl,
Yeah.
which is a classic Motown
But
song.
I feel like you shouldn't just name like a movie off of a song.
I think it should be
replacing
called The Events of Death.
But then that gives it away a little bit. It's like when we watched
No,
this
I guess
in the
that
90s,
would actually make sense because
it was such a surprise when the Thomas J scene
Well,
happened.
that would actually make
Her
sense.
mom
'cause
actually worked for a dead funeral home.
her
Her
dad.
dad.
But yeah.
That would actually make sense. Because, yeah, her dad works in the funeral parlor.
So if you call it a dead guy, what was your alternate title?
The Events of Death.
Well, the original title was Born Jaundiced.
Born,
Which,
it should have
which
been
this is
Born
definitely an
Deaf.
improvement. There was another title. It was also called I Am Woman, which was another sort of big song from the like late
make sense.
60s, early I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar. My Girl is the way to...
My Girl is a nearly perfect movie, and I was so associated with Veda watching this when I was younger. I thought she was kind of the perfect adolescent. She's gorgeous, smart. She is a tomboy. I was like just very associated with her, and she still, despite
and-
all those things, had this cute little boy in love with her, which I didn't have one of those.
But one thing I don't agree with is the casting for the, like, not the casting like that, but, like, her character is supposed to be 12. She looks like she's, like, 9.
6.
Oh, I wonder how
Well,
old
she was
is.
Looks
actually...
like she's 6 or
Bo-
7.
Both Macaulay Culkin and Anna Klumsky were 11 years old when they filmed this movie, so the age was perfectly appropriate, which is really, really special and really,
Maybe
really
people
rare.
were smaller back then, Max.
Yeah, they don't look, they don't
True
look
or
12.
false? There's a sequel to this movie called My Girl 2. True or false?
False.
I mean, I
True.
feel like it
It's
shouldn't
true.
exist, but I feel like
Can
it's
you
true.
believe there's a sequel? What do you think? You haven't seen the sequel.
Why?
What do you think it's about?
About another person dying that's close to him. Oh, wait, no. About her dad dying, and then Shelly has to be,
Thomas J. coming back from the grave.
Taking
as a
over the
ghost.
funeral home.
so Shelly has to be,
Okay, Zach.
Veda's mom now, and if she and like 5 seconds before she has to go to the orphanage, Shelley adopts her.
Dark tale.
Well, a dark tale. One other cool fact about this, I think,
What's the sequel about?
is the sequel is about Veda trying to find out more about her mom. Her mom died during childbirth, which is why Veda in this movie is so obsessed with death. She thinks she caused her mom's death, so she goes to investigate who her mom was. That's what My Girl 2 is about. We can watch it sometime. But Meghan, one thing you did mention
My Girl 3.
was there's a big kiss in this movie. You were 12 when you saw it. Do you remember when your first kiss was?
It wasn't when I was 12. It was later. Sadly.
What did the kiss moment do while you were watching it when you were 12 years old?
I don't think I thought about it that much.
You
What
didn't
did
think
you
about the
feel
kiss?
when you were kissing?
I thought it was sweet. I'm not going to go into my emotions when kissing all here, guys. But I had a question for Max, which I thought he might have associated in a scene in the movie where Veda asks her dad for $35, and he says maybe next year as an answer instead of giving her the $35. And I was curious if that felt like something he hears sometimes, and what he would do if he asked for money from us and we said maybe next year.
I mean, I feel like I might have tweaked out because the class was she just taking an English class.
With adults because she has a crush
She
on
was,
the
she was
teacher.
asking to learn more during the summer.
Yeah, but I would have wanted to do it then. That's why I asked, and the class might not happen next year. Also, maybe it's just because money is worth less now, but $35 is not that much.
Well, how much was $35 in 1972?
$35 in 1972 was like $250 in today's dollar.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But still a pretty good price for a summer's long worth
Well, yeah,
of
but if
education.
Max asked one of us for $250,
No.
we wouldn't just
Well, yeah,
hand it
if
over.
I asked for the class, then yeah, she probably could ask for the class and not just.
They would
for the
pay
money.
it if he asked for the class, but he wouldn't say, "Hey, Mom, can I have $250?" They wouldn't do it then.
Right.
He would have to ask for the class instead of just saying, "Hey, Mom, can I have $250 today?"
I guess sort of in conclusion, Max, did you like this movie? Do you think your friends would like it? Would you watch it again?
I liked this movie, and I feel like it'd be fun to watch with my friends, cause some of my friends are very easy to cry during a movie. So I feel like it'd be fun.
I rate
And
it
so you
4
wouldn't
out of
tell
5.
them what was going to happen and just
No.
wait and see what they do.
I mean, you didn't tell me what was gonna.
So you would show them Hoosiers first and then My Girl second, is what you're saying.
No, I would not show them Hoosiers because that movie was not good, and I do not think they would.
Combined, I would give it a 7 out of 10 Zacks.
7 out of 10 Zacks, that's a pretty good
Like it.
score.
I'd give this movie a 8 out of 10.
No,
Zacks.
combined.
Oh.
My Girl and Hoosiers.
Let's do individuals because I don't want to bring down My Girl score with Hoosiers with this
Come
crowd.
on, guys. Well, obviously, Hoosiers is 1,000 out of 1,000 Zacks. But
3 out of 10 Zacks for Hoosiers.
Oh, that's higher than I thought.
I thought it was gonna be 0.1 out of 10 Zacks.
Probably more a 0 point, a 2 out of 10. Because
well, two good movies today. Maybe one was better than the other one,
good
for
movie.
sure.
For this crowd, I
But-
feel like you didn't have the right crowd for
Maybe not
Hoosiers.
the right crowd, but thank you for watching it. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for taking the time, Megan. And that wraps up our very first episode of Zach. What's our
See you guys next episode on Back in My Day.
well?
well, the episode is not over yet.
Well, it's not totally over yet.
Oh.
We want to thank everyone here at LMC Media for all of their help and support pulling this episode together, especially our producer, Astrid. Astrid, thank you so much. You've done an awesome job. Before we go, a few notes. You can find our podcast, the Back in My Day Pod, everywhere you listen to podcasts. We have an official website that you can check out, www.backinmydaypod.com, where you'll also be able to watch a video version of this podcast on our YouTube channel. If you live here in Westchester County, this episode is going to be airing on cable television on the LMC channels. Check your local listings for what those are going to be. We would love to hear from you. Feedback on this episode, suggestions for future episodes, you name it. You can email us at hello@backinmydaypod.com. We welcome any feedback. Remember to like and subscribe, right, guys? We got to like, got to subscribe, leave comments. Again, we want to hear what you think about this. And until next time, remember, be kind, rewind. We'll see you next month with 2 Christmas classics. We're still figuring those out, but they'll be coming here soon. But when we do them, it will all be on
Back in my day.